Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Ragucci, and this is Replay, Relive, and Reexperience. As we like to call it, Re3, where you guessed it, we do all three of those things to our favorite video game franchises. In this edition of Re3, we'll be replaying, reliving, and re-experiencing Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 1. In anticipation for, hopefully, GTA 6 in fall 2025. Very much pending. We'll see if they hit that date. Well, here to mosey on with me, we got fastest gun in the West, Chris Trio.
Yeehaw, Gooch.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, returning guest, Casey Wellman, moseying up, fastest horse in the West.
Fastest horse. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
that was just
That was
off
good.
the
That was
cuff.
pretty good.
Wasn't
Yeah,
planned.
honestly.
I may
Cool.
go. Well, just go into the Arthur and just kind of
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I can't do like the John though. He doesn't really have like an Arthur kind of.
No, his is a much more soft, I'd
Dutch?
say, Southern accent. But it's definitely there. I don't even know how I'd describe it. Like,
Arthur's is like a front of the throat. John's a back of the throat.
absolutely.
Like, rough.
Yeah,
Sick voice. on
John
there.
Marston, something like that. I don't know, buddy.
It's like yeah.
Come
That's
on
actually
now.
really good.
Yeah.
The
Bill
buddy-
Williamson.
Bill
Yeah.
Williamson.
Come on out, Bill.
That was really good.
I've come for you.
Your time's come. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like shit. Like
Javier Escuela. Oh, I think we got it, guys.
Yeah.
We figured
Yeah.
it.
We got it.
We got it alive.
It's a little bit more raspy.
We
Yeah.
were like brothers once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the hell were you? You left me to die,
Yeah,
dude. We
yeah.
got it,
Yeah.
dude. That was
Yeah,
sick.
go for it. That's all. Yeah.
Just
But,
gotta work through it. Little character work.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Red Dead Redemption, the first game.
Absolutely.
Here we go. This is first time I'm playing. So it's not necessarily a reliving for me.
Absolutely.
You guys have played it a few times, but we'll get into that. So
At least. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
housekeeping for this Re3, we're going to break it up into 4 episodes. Trio's going to be really taking the wheel with the doc here.
I have the reins, as they say.
It's usually been me, but Trio knows this game and the
We'll
series
be
like
riding
the,
shotgun.
Yeah,
like the
absolutely.
back of his hand. So
Absolutely.
he'll be taking it. So episode 1, which is this episode, New Austin. It's going to be the first section of the game until we go to Mexico. Part 2, which is Nuevo Paraíso, New Paradise, of
Love
course. Translation there for those who
Absolutely.
couldn't catch on to that. And then West Elizabeth and the epilogue will be part 3. And then part 4, we're going to do Undead Nightmare. Yeah. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
I have not played past Mexico, so I mean, you're gonna be able to tell. Part 2 will be in the same clothes.
Absolutely,
We're
yeah.
recording parts 1 and 2 together.
Switch shirts.
Absolutely.
But I am excited. Like I
no shirts.
yeah, no shirts.
Yeah.
If we were streaming on Twitch, we might get in trouble for that. But I don't know if YouTube cares.
Free the nipple.
Free the
Gooch.
nipple. I was
Yeah.
just gonna
Could
say
you
that.
imagine if we just podcasted without shirts on?
Then we'd be the Bert Kreischer of podcasts, for better or for worse.
The Delco Nude Network.
yeah.
Nice.
But we have a little bit of Q&A. So for the first episode, of course, we always like to give like the background information on the game, development, stuff like that. And of course, it being Rockstar, it's probably way more interesting than maybe some other games.
Absolutely.
Just because of like, I feel like the period when this game came out between like GTA 4 and I guess GTA 5 was like Rockstar's sort of like change. Like we have like Bully and this and LA Noire, but like they really ramp up becoming this powerhouse in this time frame.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the time where they switch from those smaller experiences and trying to do many more different games.
Right, we're
like
doing
a Bully to
Manhunt
just,
and like Max Payne
and Bully and
yeah.
like this kind of very wide array of topics. But yeah, it definitely feels like this kind of moment where it consolidated to the Rockstar somewhat that we know today.
Yeah.
Not the like microtransaction, more like multiplayer side stuff. But I totally agree.
It seems like their Activision Call of Duty moment where they're like, all eggs go in these
Right,
baskets.
exactly.
Like instead of
Yeah,
casting
yeah.
a wide
And I
net.
mean,
we don't we don't get much from Rockstar these days. I mean, look at GTA 6. It's-
outside of these IPs.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
of Red Dead and
Or in
GTA.
general, really.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It takes
do,
a while. Yeah.
I do think they have a pretty large internal like R&D team that they do kind of workshop things with that have been. There was a leak a while back about like a medieval piece that they were doing.
Yeah,
that
we
was
talked
more-
about that.
and that would be really cool. And hey, who knows? That might have been something that was like worked on before. But dude, so many things. Apparently, they fully built Liberty City for GTA 5 and just never used it. There's like leaked screenshots that came out of that last.
I mean, they had to have been doing something with
well,
that
yeah, and I mean,
time.
with all the different things that
Workshopping
apparently they were
and-
going through with GTA 6, that's a whole nother podcast unto itself.
Right.
But yeah, this is a very interesting time for Rockstar, and I will say this had a very tumultuous development apparently. So we can get into that.
Looking forward to hearing it. But
Yeah.
let's start, like I said, with the Q&A. We all are sort of like in 2011. We're in high school. Or sorry, 2010. 2009? When they
2000.
I think it's 10.
I think it is 10, but it's funny that I don't have that right in front of me. I believe it's 11, but here, let me see.
Anyway, yeah, we're in high school when
Yeah.
this game comes out. So our first question is, was this your first Rockstar game? And Casey, I want to go to you first since you're our guest. Was it your first Rockstar game, Red Dead 1?
Knowingly, it was either, and I don't know the order they came out, it was either this or GTA 4. And
Okay.
and regardless of actually release date, like I think in the same year
Right.
I played the two of them. I had to actually go back into my old achievements to see like
2010.
when.
Sorry.
Yeah.
2010, yeah.
Okay, to see when I might have first played this, and then compared to like GTA 4. And I
Right.
think it was like a overlap. Like I might have rolled right from one into the other, and it might have been like 2011 or 12 before I actually played this.
Well,
and
GTA
Like,
4 did come out in like 07, I think, I believe.
Yeah,
'cause I was-
right
I
at the
was
beginning
late
of
to
that generation,
And
yeah.
Part of me thinks that it might have been I played Red Dead first and then was like, I have to see what the new GTA is about. Because I played like at like friends' houses GTAs
Sure.
like back in the day, but like it was just
You're not doing the story.
beat up a hooker, get
Yeah.
money. And then like I was like, I can't believe this is a good thing you can do in games. So this or GTA 4 would have been my first personal like playthrough of a Rockstar game that I know of.
Yeah. So I guess my first Rockstar game probably would be GTA 3. Again, playing in people's
Same,
houses.
yeah.
Just like killing as many people as humanly possible. I remember I think Vice City I played as well. I would go on sprees and then like hide on the stadium steps and like the cops like couldn't drive their cars up
Yeah.
and they would just like blow up.
Yeah.
Hours of like endless fun.
Martinelli's basement.
Yeah, shout out to
doubt.
Chris Martinelli. Yeah, they would play all the GTAs over there. But the first GTA game, or sorry, the first Rockstar game I ever owned was LA Noire.
What an
Yeah.
interesting starting point.
Yeah.
Around this exact same time. I think LA Noire was a year before or after, but go.
Yeah, LA Noire was. Oh, I love that game, and I've been watching a streamer play it. I know Trio, you've been
I've been
playing it a
playing,
little
yeah.
bit, but I would love to replay that game. It's
Never
been
did.
so long, but
Same year, actually.
Same year.
I'm sorry, 2011. No, Rock,
but
so
it
a
is-
year later.
and it is a different team. It's Team Bondi.
Correct,
It's not
yeah.
Rockstar Prime doing it, so that makes sense. But I've never played Red Dead 1. Obviously, I know a lot about it, and I know what happens. So like going into this, like I know what happens to John.
Right,
You know,
right, right.
like I knew that when I played Red Dead 2. But I don't really know like the story beats. Like I didn't really know like what happened to Bill and Javier. Like I know what happens to Dutch, but like I wasn't sure about really like, the specifics or the in-betweens. I mean, that was sort of like with MGS3. Like I've watched that game a ton, but like I couldn't really talk to the specifics and like when things happen because I didn't actually play it.
Right.
So this kind of has a similar vibe, but like I've just literally have never watched much of this game.
Right.
So it is kind of new, but it's weird because it feels like I have played this game. Red Dead 2 really evolved from this game, and it's
Absolutely.
really interesting to see. It's like, no, like this is the same area. This is the new Austin
Absolutely.
area from Red Dead 2. Like I feel like I've been here, but like
Armadillo.
There's even
Yeah,
like
I'm
more
play-
organic like progression, like even fishing, because like I almost want to pull up to a river and fish in Red Dead 1. I'm like, oh, I can't. But
Yeah.
then
right,
it's really cool.
wild how they took like Red Dead 1 is really arcadey.
Absolutely.
I don't really know
Much
how
more
else to
gamey.
put it.
Yeah.
It's-
Much more gamey.
But Red Dead 2
Yeah.
is like an immersive simulator.
Definitely.
Like, like
Totally.
they take everything and like expand it like 1,000%. But Trio, what was your first Rockstar game? Tell us.
So same as you, Gooch. The first one I remember playing, like just fucking around in, was GTA 3. I remember getting the Viper or whatever, the
yeah.
car from
Yeah.
the dealership and running around, and then you get the tank on the 6-star, all that stuff. Great time. Never really played any of the story back with those stuff or with those games. I feel like the first actual Grand Theft Auto or Rockstar game that I played all the way through and like remember the story and was really kind of into it was 4. I remember when that released, and I probably beat it way too quickly. And I really enjoyed it. Nico is still one of my favorite characters in a Rockstar game ever.
Yeah.
I think that whole story is incredibly interesting. Very different tonally from GTA 5. And it's a fantastic game. But yeah, GTA 3 is probably my earliest memory. I do remember playing Bully at some point, but I don't remember how that happened and or when. And I did play through it all. I feel like it might have been later in life, which is just another very interesting and totally different game.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, a lot of experience with Rockstar. I'd say it's probably one of my favorite developers. They are,
No doubt.
without
Yeah, for sure.
without doubt.
Yeah.
It's probably them and like Rocksteady for me.
Right, yeah,
Like,
and yeah, I
interesting,
really
yeah.
hope they can pull out from what just happened. But yeah, I agree with you. So many of those games with like Suicide Squad and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think Casey touched on this, but when did we first play Red Dead? I'm playing it for the first time now. You said you played it back like when it released, like in that
I'm
year.
saying probably 2011 or 12.
Same
Okay.
here. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
within the release, like couple months of the game,
Yeah.
because I remember I got my mom to take me up and
Mom!
purchase it because it's a rated M game.
Yeah.
And that was.
I mean, actually, it's like the sex scene in Mexico.
That's
like,
that's like the most crazy part. And
Yeah.
one of our Shane last night, one of my friends, I remember the story so vividly. He went in to get it with his mom, and the guy was like, "Ma'am, do you know there's graphic sexual scenes in this game where you see a woman's boob?" And like just totally fun. And
One
again, they're supposed to
singular
do that
breast.
technically,
What a-
but it was just
fuck
so
that guy.
like, "Fuck you, man! God damn it!"
I hope it wasn't Ponytail Guy.
It could have been,
Ed.
honestly.
Ed, yeah.
Yeah.
I know
I
exactly.
don't,
what
I
you're
don't know.
talking
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
Ed-
imagine
Ever
he
GameStop.
would, but
He's a Delco legend. I don't know, that guy's
Yeah.
probably still working at GameStop.
I can't
Delco
imagine he
legend.
ratted.
No. He I remember I broke my Modern Warfare 2 disc because I think my console was on the ground. Someone jumped and my disc skipped, and he gave me like a new disc.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's What a legend.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I'm trying to think. I think Brendan may have brought me to get this and Assassin's Creed 2. And like, actually, no, that's not true because I played Assassin's Creed 2 like
Assassin's Creed
right
2 was
after I got-
2009.
Yeah, like, but I think I played that like right after.
sorry.
I got it.
Yeah, no,
The,
2009. Yeah.
I got that like
Fresh-
release year, so that wouldn't make sense.
freshman year. Okay.
Yeah, it was freshman year.
You answered. Opinions of Red Dead in the past. Obviously, I don't really have any, but Trio, before playing this, did you think Red Dead 1 was like, where were you at with it?
Before replaying it this time,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
I've played this game. It might be insane, like 7 to 9 times, maybe. I don't think it's 10 because that would mean I'd have to play it like once every year since it's come out
Right.
almost.
Yeah.
But it could be ranging on 10 because I guess if it was 2010, it's been
crazy.
14 years. This could very well be my 10th playthrough of this game, which is truly wild.
That's crazy.
But it's absolutely, like I said, one of my favorite games of all time. John Marston is up there, only slightly beaten, I think, by Arthur at this point because just his journey is so fucking amazing.
They both
in
have
Red Dead
really
2.
good arcs that are
Absolutely.
like very different but
Same, for
similar.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, top tier game. Absolutely.
Casey, opinion of Red Dead 1?
Same as true. Like, it was beast the first time I played it. It was beast the third to fifth time that I'm on or something.
Right.
Not as many as you, but like I'm easily up at that. Like probably 4 or 5. I would definitely say on this playthrough. And like I was impressed. Obviously, I'm playing it on PS4, so it's got some enhancements.
That's right.
But
We should definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I got it. I
you
got
know,
it teed up.
like the so I guess to keep with the first time. Yeah, like I always was like, this game is instant classic for me. Up there with like first time I played Last of Us. Like that
Right.
that kind of like off the bat, I'm like, I can't imagine like really topping this game. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, but
Of course.
Right.
it yeah.
But have you played it since you first played it?
Red
That's
Dead?
the next question. Yeah.
I,
Trio already
I was saying I played it like 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
So yes,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
this is my first time on like enhanced anything. So like
Yeah.
I had played
with
it.
with the
disc
new
copy.
PS4 Switch version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played my 360 copy
Yeah.
at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, my next question was the last time you played it, and I guess you both have played it multiple times since, so it's not. Like
I mean,
you-
the last time I played it before this time, I think was like, I was tweeting about it. I think it was like a year or 2 ago, just because I had just.
but you
gotten
played
it
the
and-
360 version,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mine was before 2 came out. I played it. That was the
Yeah.
last time I played.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was probably the last time I had played it before that last playthrough too.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
and we're gonna talk about a little bit of Red Dead 2. We have a preamble like right before we're gonna actually start, but what is everyone's thoughts of Red Dead 2? I'll start. Fucking incredible game of like the generation. It's really hard to beat Red Dead 2. That game is so unnecessarily immersive and grandiose, and like there's a sense of like exploration and open worldness that like really no other game has really captured. It's like when a game does open world without like your typical open world fare, and you still are like really immersed in the world.
Yeah.
But like you don't have to go out to like the fucking tower and like look at everything. You kind of just are just exploring, and the game is just open for the sake of it being open. And like, I don't know, you just kind of naturally like roam around, and the way the game opens that up to you, and like not having fast travel unlocked right away, and like you really ease into that.
It seems like its own genre. Like you're applying a bunch of labels.
Yeah,
from
I mean,
bunch of
no
things,
game has really
but,
come like that.
The journey is a major part of it.
You know
like
what I would
getting around
kind of
the world.
actually compare it to? Kingdom Come Deliverance in
100%.
open
I've
world
heard
is
that as well,
actually
yeah.
very
Okay.
similar to that in terms of like,
Is it slow?
yes,
my
but the
question, I
game
guess,
like
yeah.
it doesn't have anything out in the open world other than the fact that it is an open world, and you can like stumble upon things like things in the world, but it's not like here's the town you have to liberate.
Where's
like,
this question mark?
Right,
taking
right. There's
stuff
none
like
of that.
Yeah.
And there, there's some of that in Red Dead 2, but like not enough to the point where you would like act like it's a bit like stranger missions. You come across people,
Right.
or like weird Easter eggs. But again, most of these things are unmarked.
Right. They only or they get marked as you like get very close.
And
to
its narrative is like really compelling. Like this idea, and Red Dead 1 really plays into this a bit more, but like the idea that like the world is evolving, and
times are changing.
the gang, the Vanderlyn gang is not about that evolution, and they're essentially being pushed out of time.
Right.
And the times are going against them, and kind of making them inert and irrelevant, like what they're being a gang, and like
Their
being
lifestyle,
unlawful, and like it's like you can't do this.
Can't run
dude.
anymore. There's nowhere to run to.
Raging
Yeah.
against the dying of the light. Like it.
Right. No.
Totally,
Yeah. Exactly. It's like they're trying to fight a system that the system is just way too big. Like
Yeah.
they can't function like they are.
Yeah.
And it's about them coming to terms with that existence, and the fact that like they don't want to, like some people succumb and some don't, and like it all really ends up bad for everyone.
Right.
No one comes out of this better off.
Sure.
At least for like.
I think part of the gang does end up getting off. At least you think scot free and like having a good life.
Yeah,
At least
like
in the
maybe like
epilogue.
Pearson and
Well, and you see Pearson, and then you see what's her name? The black woman. She has a husband now
Yes,
in Saint Denis
she
and all
moves to
that.
Saint Denis, yeah.
And I'm forgetting. It starts with a T. Anyways,
Tilly.
Yes, Tilly.
Yeah,
And
Is
then
that you,
see,
Tilly?
the other girl who's like she loves to write, and she ends up becoming like a popular author and things like that. So there is some closure in Red Dead 2 for sure.
Yeah, I guess with
Yeah.
our main cast,
Yeah.
there's I'll call them stragglers,
Right.
Like people who are just like in the group, but like they're not the main
Well,
core.
the guys who are stuck with Dutch, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
But Trio, keep going.
I mean, dude, I absolutely adore Red Dead 2. I think it literally is my game of the decade when we did that podcast last year, a couple years ago, I guess now, which is insane. It's a game that commits to what it wants to be when it comes to those simulation aspects. You're either going to like it or you're not.
Yeah.
I love that people seem to overwhelmingly do like it, and I think that there's fair critiques in it, and I totally understand someone playing it and maybe finding the more simulation aspects to be a bit daunting. I don't. I
Yeah.
think they're incredibly well balanced. I think it's a incredible world to explore, and there's so much going on in it, but at the same time it's so quiet and just, man, I love just
Cozy.
going around and checking out the views and just walking through town and watching the NPCs do their full schedule, which was even in Red Dead 1. It's a really fantastic game, and even just as an example of like something that I think does work that someone might find annoying, it's like the searching system in the game. God, why am I every time I have to go down on the floor and I have to pat them down, and it's like, well, yeah, because there's a bit of inherent danger to that. If you're searching
what's
people and
funny?
more people
Red
pass
Dead
by
2,
you,
like
you got
does
people.
it better, I think, because the animation is just more interesting.
Oh, it's more interesting,
Yeah.
but like,
yeah, like he flips a body
For sure.
over, goes through the pockets. It's not just a pat, pat,
yeah,
pat,
pat.
Yeah.
No,
Or the
I
scanning, it's like, oh, here we
Yeah.
go.
100%. Red Dead 2
Sure.
100% leans into that stuff way more.
You got to park your horse over stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can still do that in Red Dead 2, but
Yeah.
you got to be much more careful because
Yeah.
you can destroy the pelt.
You're right.
Yeah, it's a fucking fantastic game. I adore Red Dead 2. Casey, what about you?
Dittos all around.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we
Kinda
took all your
to
thunder.
Yeah.
point- No, I mean it's hit nails on the head. It seemed to me like the game that like Skyrim in my mind was the last game that like elevated the medium to like such an undeniable, like the success was so undeniable, and like it wasn't just like a couple people championing this game. Like it was like everyone, like you said, it was overwhelmingly like positive. I can totally understand the critiques people had, like, but what I appreciate about it is even if you had a problem with the immersive nature, like it was like overwhelming or daunting, like you don't have to do that.
Absolutely,
you can just go and like shoot up the town or go do your missions or like
circumvent a lot of that stuff.
And I think I really liked that, like certain times I got on and I didn't even know what I was gonna do. I just like started playing the game and like I'm like something called my attention and like an hour and a half goes by and I've done like something I didn't expect I was gonna do. Like I might be like, oh, I'm getting on, I'm gonna continue the story, and then like a random interesting side quest pops up and I do that, or like I see a deer and like all of a sudden I'm like, I need a perfect pelt, and I start like hunting for 45 minutes and like you don't even know. I never always knew what I was gonna get into when I got on, and I really liked that because it feels like less pressure to like do a certain thing in the game. You just like want, you're taking it in, you're playing it, you're experiencing it.
I don't know how you guys feel, but like I love that you said that because I feel like, much to my dismay, I feel like what I do in like just my life is so like premeditated.
Sure.
Rarely do like I like when like something happens and I'm like thrown the wrench into my plans, and I think I can adapt on the fly pretty well, but if I have a moment to think about it, I usually am not about it.
That's the way to say it.
But like that happens in gaming too.
Where
I'm just like I'm just getting like I'm in a game, I'm like, dude, I'm like getting like so deterred, and like sometimes like I'm playing like Kingdom Come Deliverance and I'm like, dude, like I keep like here's like the 7th new quest I've gotten and I'm trying to do this one other thing, and I get like stressed out. Like I don't really know what it is.
So you're saying you're the opposite of like me saying I didn't mind just not knowing what I was going to do?
No, not necessarily. Some games I don't think I actually care, but like sometimes I think I have such a hard plan of like what I want to do that I like don't really want to be entertained by any other possibility or like again like just some like random thing.
Well, when I was in that mood, I would just blow by the side stuff.
Right, like I don't remember that being a problem in Red Dead 2.
Right.
Like I don't think I cared, but like
it lets you feel like a random mood and play the game. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to like sit down and be like, I need to focus. You can just have fun or leisurely do it mosey, like how they say every time you look at someone playing, it's like moseying in Great Plains or whatever. Like you could do that. You didn't have to be like, God, I gotta like dial in and like crank these missions out or whatever. Like you could just fuck around and then do whatever, like which I loved. So, but you know, I know how you are.
I mean,
especially achievement hunting. Like you might be like, I need to do this, and you're.
Gooch asked me to do the multiplayer achievements with him. And I'm like, I can't commit.
For this Red Dead.
Yeah,
I was like,
and he has to,
I can because that's
like there's a lot of DLC for this game, which I've been reading up on. I mean, like besides Undead Nightmare, but like there's a co-op mission, like thing.
Yeah,
it's like it's separate from the multiplayer. I'm like, oh,
yeah. What are the multiplayer?
I think it was Liars and
I don't know
Cheats.
if we're gonna get to that or whatever, but like, what are the multiplayer
achievements? It's like do all the co-op missions, get gold on the co-op missions. This seems pretty
stuff, right?
Strange.
Yeah.
You thinking about it? Can I recruit you?
I don't know, dude. I might help with something like once in a while. But
that's the thing. It takes a commitment.
You've been busy, and I like we even like debated even ask you to do this. I'm like, you're getting married soon, and just like I don't know if Casey necessarily has the time.
Shout out my wife. Let me play video games.
I love
He's getting hog tied up, put on the train tracks.
Oh, ball and chain.
We had to get rings yesterday. I was thinking about pocketing it in a very Red Dead fashion.
And I'm running out.
There was an armed guard, so I was like, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. He was playing on his phone though. That was kind of funny. I was like, I mean, I can't imagine what they're paying.
You're
for
in
that.
Newtown Square. I think you're.
I'm the problem.
They immediately pull a gun. Anyways,
but we are speaking of playing the game. I am playing a different version from you two. So this game came out originally May 18th, 2010. The Game of the Year edition, which I bought for this on Xbox, came out in 2011. It comes with all the DLC, 2 discs, illustrated. I'm not going to show the camera, but illustrated manual, map in the back.
God, remember when they
missed
had
that so
stuff in
much.
there?
It's a nice game. I got this
missed
brand new $20 on Amazon.
That's
My
pretty
first,
good,
like, Amazon
actually.
And it was
game.
wrapped and all.
Yeah, that looks
brand
good,
new.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
man.
came in great
It's
condition.
$40 for the new one. Like,
Yeah.
so that's like a nice
so-
pickup as a
Yeah,
collector.
I'm
yourself
playing
and
it
all.
backwards compatible on Xbox, on Series X, the Xbox 360 version. You guys are playing the one that came out literally like almost a year ago to the day,
Yeah.
August 17th, 2023.
Oh, wow.
The Switch PS4 version that is 60 FPS.
Right.
You're playing on PS5.
And I'm also
both of you.
playing on the hardcore mode that
Okay.
that is offered in the new game, which is pretty cool.
That's no aim assist.
Right. So
increased
those are the
over,
main.
yeah.
There's a few.
I
there's
got
a bunch of
I got
different things.
offered that as well.
Did
like,
it,
when I
so it
started.
does come up for you. What
Yes.
do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, on
it's
that
like
version.
normal or hardcore.
Oh, cool. Okay,
yeah.
that's nice.
It must have been
a whole update. Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, no, it must have been like when the game came out.
see, I thought I was reading articles that it came out with this new edition that they came out with, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way.
Yeah, no, I got the option.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
I was kind of with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the hardcore mode. The major differences are Red Dead doesn't, or Dead Eye doesn't
Dead
regenerate outside of combat. You
have to
use a
take
lot
items?
more. You have to take
kill
items or get kills. If you get kills without Dead Eye, it fills your meter. There's no aim
cool.
assist of any kind, so it's completely free aim, and you die a lot quicker. Like if you get shot, like you can't
Yeah,
fuck around.
Red Dead
anywhere.
1's pretty forgiving.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, even I would say even.
Too.
Red Dead 2 is pretty forgiving.
I don't remember.
Even with GTA and stuff like that, like you can get lit up in those games, and you're
Yeah,
you're not gonna
those
die.
games really
Yeah.
aren't about difficulty in my
No,
opinion.
for sure.
Yeah.
But it definitely adds some extra layers. I like it a lot. It makes it feel a little different in a lot of ways in the way of just especially the aiming assists. But I like it for sure, and it runs pretty well.
Did you adjust quickly? Do you think, or were you like? Has it just been a continual struggle?
No, it's been pretty easy. I mean, it's
Okay.
definitely harder than just a click on, but with Deadeye and stuff like that, and even free aiming, like
I know you've played
you get
these
pretty good.
games a lot. I kind
So,
of would
yeah,
expect you not to have a hard time with it, even if it was hard.
And I think the hardest mission's probably like when you're with Wes Dickens and you're running away, and they're coming at you with
You're on the rock.
you're on the
Yeah,
you're on the
yeah.
side trying
That's
to
what
take out all the guys on the horses, and you're swaying a good amount. But yeah, as long as you have some stuff to fill up your dead eye with, or you get some kills, it's not usually too bad. And I haven't found myself like dying of a ton,
Yeah.
so that's good.
I've died in some silly ways, like just
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's- if you're not struggling with
Yeah.
it, like,
My
you're
first
not- yeah.
death was falling into water.
Yep.
Yeah, same.
That was my first death, and then the Thieves Landing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, remember,
Yeah,
John
yeah,
can't
yeah.
swim in the
I was
second
like,
one either.
Yeah, but like you don't instantly die.
Sure, you die like in like 5 seconds, but like
Yeah,
you can't.
I'm
So,
just
like
like-
if you fall in somewhere, you're dying.
Did Arthur swim? I can't
Yes,
even remember.
yeah, Arthur. But
okay.
it's like a duck. It's very
Yeah,
slow.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and your stamina drains
Very
insanely.
quickly, yeah.
Were you about to say something?
No, I was just looking at.
Yeah, I saw you on your
I was looking at
phone,
the
I thought you-
achievements for like to confirm. It looks like it might have been 2012 when I played this for Red Dead, and then I'd have to look at.
I guess I
GTA
could look
5.
at that too.
But I don't. I for some reason I thought it was earlier, or GTA 4 rather. I'd have to look at because it looks like I played that like.
Yeah, it
sooner.
is weird to go
That's
back and look
actually
at your
cool that you can
achievements.
do that with
And
achievements. I never thought about that.
Timestamps like when you played. It's like,
Awesome.
That's one reason to say it.
well, Trio, I'm gonna throw it over to you.
All right, partner.
Give us that developmental background and whatnot. Teach us about the ways of. I'm not Arthur anymore. I'm just going.
Yeah,
to
you're just
something.
going somewhere.
Yeah. You please.
Tell us about the game.
Yeah. Tell us about the game,
I'll do
Trio.
this fully in John Marston's voice.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Tell us about the game.
Tell us about the game. So where did Red Dead begin? We're going to go back to the far-off year of 2003 when Rockstar acquired Red Dead Revolver from Capcom, actually, after years of rocky development, partly because it wanted the rights to a franchise of Western flavor for its own. But Rockstar San Diego completed the development after 9 months once they had taken it over because it was just taking forever. So they just took full development costs on and finished the game. But it's kind of odd because they ended up just making a full reboot in Red Dead Redemption and its own thing. I mean, there are definitely parallels. Like there's like Red Harlow.
Have you played Red Dead Revolver?
I have not.
Okay. Is it backwards compatible on Xbox?
I think it is. Yeah, you can buy it.
We
It's-
can play it.
It's been on my list.
Would you? Yeah, I was like, would
yeah,
you?
I think I would at
Every
some
time
point.
I look at like screenshots of it, I'm like, oh god,
What
it
is
looks
this?
so fucking old.
It looks
Yeah.
so old, but there
Yeah.
is like Deadeye in it and stuff. There's like,
Yeah.
I mean, Red Harlow looks a lot like John for sure.
It's wild that
Is that the main?
The main
that's
character,
protagonist?
yeah, from
it's
that one.
wild that Capcom sold them the IP. That does not happen. like where big companies like that like exchange IPs.
And it seemed like it was. I think they might have been co-developing.
Like remember
it at
like
first.
Remedy and like Max Payne, like
Right.
they did the same thing.
I think it
They
was
must
much
have been
more normal
shopping.
back then. Yeah.
Like, but like
For them especially.
Rockstar did it twice. Like it is with big IPs, you know.
So,
What was the other one?
Max Payne.
Oh,
they got Max Payne from Remedy.
And because Max Payne 3 was completely made in house, but
Yeah.
Max Payne 1 and 2 were made by Remedy.
And now Remedy has it back, and they're doing the remasters on their own.
the remake, it's a total remake.
Yeah, it's a remake.
Of like 1 and 2 as one single game.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So yeah, they
That's cool. I
they
never played
finished right.
Yeah, neither have I.
Be cool too.
So Rockstar completed the development, Rockstar San Diego, within 9 months and had it out for its May 2004 release date. After the launch, Rockstar wanted to create its own Western game from scratch, as it felt Revolver, quote, didn't fundamentally play like a Rockstar game, unquote. That makes sense to
Sure,
me.
I can believe that without even knowing.
Yeah, for sure. So preliminary work on Red Dead Redemption began in 2005 with a small team at Rockstar San Diego working on the first teaser trailer that was shown during Sony's E3 press conference in May of 2005.
Yeah, I watched the trailer. Like
Wow.
you can see like the DNA, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like that early BioShock Infinite trailer
Exactly.
where like it's there, it's BioShock Infinite, but like it just totally looks different.
Well-
Total different character designs and like atmosphere.
You see like the makings of Armadillo,
Exactly.
but it's not.
It's not quite. And it does say that it was an early technological demonstration for
Yeah,
the PS3.
yeah.
So I think it is kind of just that early
PS3
slice.
loved. I think they commission companies to make like tech demo trailers. I know MGS4 had one. I feel like the just like specifically with the PS3, I think Sony wanted their like devs and they recruited a lot of people to make like these tech demo trailers because you don't really see tech demos for games.
No,
all
I think
that
it was
often
much
anymore.
more normal back then when it was still kind of nascent. With
I know
these new
Gears did,
technologies.
like when Gears was first being made and Unreal 3 was first being marketed, they showed a tech demo that was early Gears of War, but not named.
I think it's more so like an engine demo. Nowadays.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
here's what you can do in Unreal 5. Oh, whatever. Like whatever. They're
Yeah.
at. I don't even
what
know. But like
what engine is Red Dead?
Rage. They're
Okay.
all their games are
That's
the
their
Rage
own,
engine
right?
usually. Yeah, the
And
Rockstar Advanced Game Engine.
Interesting that they're in proprietary
I guess it should
tech.
be the Rage. It's just Rage because it's like ATM machine. It wouldn't be the
Yeah.
Rage engine. It's the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine.
Rage.
Right.
Yeah, I
I
get
get
it.
what they say. Like they made it in Rage.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
should be
yeah.
more, I guess, the correct one. So, but if you do want to look this up, look up Rockstar's Old West project, E3 2005. It's very much like a tonal trailer, for sure,
Right.
and technical showcase, like we said. So, full development commenced in the year 2006, following the formation of a core development team of 180 devs, led by designer and co-writer Christian Cantamessa.
I tried to read that like 7 times.
Yeah, that's pretty
I was like,
tough. I'm not going to lie. With technical director Ted Carson and art directors Josh Bass and Darren Bader. Cantamessa had worked on Rockstar, had worked with Rockstar on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, while Carson, Bass, and Bader had worked on Revolver. I guess finishing up that development. So developed by approximately a team of 1,000 people over a 5-year development period.
That's nuts.
It's wild. I mean, dude, the numbers we're going to get on
180 for a
GTA
team
6, man.
is pretty big.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. Red Dead Redemption was published by Rockstar Games in May, I should say, of 2010 for the 7th generation of consoles, and later in August of 2023, as Gooch said, for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. One thing about those different things, you can't play at 60 frames on Xbox, right?
I don't think so.
It's annoying, and they didn't release this new version for 360.
Not bothering me though.
Of course,
that
no,
much.
I know. Don't get me wrong; it's a smooth 30. I will give them credit. It never feels like there's a kink in it, but it's just odd that they wouldn't put that availability maybe on there as well.
It's a weird deal to strike with Sony.
Yeah, I don't know. It is very odd.
Yeah. Rockstar's kind of an odd company. They do a lot of odd things, and they do things their own way, and
for sure.
They don't really care what anyone
Yeah.
else is doing or saying or thinking. They just kind of do what they want to do.
Well, and they really fucked up. I feel like after the GTA trilogy release thing, the remaster, they were like, we aren't giving this out again, and we don't have time to actually work on doing this ourselves.
It is funny that Rockstar, sort of like BioWare, sort of like some of these other companies, Bethesda, are in like their last few releases have not been good. like the GTA remaster.
Oh,
you know?
sure,
like,
sure,
like,
yeah, yeah.
It seems like they really phoned it out, and it like.
Well, they gave it to a studio they shouldn't have, and stuff like that. It's
Right.
very, and it's
Like
wild because you have such a large team, and you're fucking Rockstar Games.
But-
Set aside 50 people to make the game.
Even with RDO,
Yeah.
like a lot of people love that. Us three,
Yeah.
I think like I know me and Trio played a lot, but Casey, you would tag along, and they just didn't seem to support it all the way.
Yeah.
Like they kind of just stopped.
They gave up.
and you got to a point where it's like you have so much money, you don't even know what to
I'm
do.
like, I
with,
don't have anything.
and you've done
yeah,
everything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I've played everything I can play.
But yet we're getting like the 17th million content drop for GTA Online. You know,
Yeah, that's their babe. Dude,
but
that's what they
'cause-
care
it's because it's
about.
making money.
Dude,
I know,
that's
I hear
like
you.
$1 billion
GTA
game,
Online.
like,
Yeah, it's
like-
insanity.
Yeah.
The amount of
GTA
money they
Online
make off that.
perfectly encapsulates just what changed about Rockstar in these past 10 years, especially. It's really wild. But as it was with most Rockstar settings, this game's open world was meticulously crafted, drawing inspiration from iconic features of the American frontier. Key team members, I should say, conducted field trips and analyzed classic Western media for research, as well as improving its proprietary Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, the Rage, as we just spoke about, to achieve their vision. The developers felt that the game's world was an incredibly critical element to get right, and the team sought a sense of scale, immersion, and discovery for the player. I think that they pretty much achieved that for sure.
For sure.
To make the world feel alive, the team developed schedules for the NPCs, giving them tasks to complete and locations to attend instead of repeating basic tasks. New Austin features small towns and outposts representing the final elements of the wilderness and lawlessness before the development of modern America. Nuevo Paraiso includes rebel outposts and Mexican army forts run by political and rebellious leaders amidst a civil war, and West Elizabeth is a verdant land representing the civilized and advanced areas in the world. Yeah, that comes off very well, I gotta say, across. The original score was composed by Billy Elm and Woody Jackson, to create that further sense of immersion in the product.
Do you guys? Are you familiar with either of them?
Not really, no. They
I'm
might
not.
have
I
done
know,
Red
I'm
Dead
not.
2 still as
Honestly,
well. I don't know. I might have looked it up.
I would
should've
bet
looked
they're
it up.
internal.
Rockstar,
Well,
Like
makes
they're
sense.
not a Bear McCreary who's doing Walking Dead and
Yeah.
God of War and whatever the fuck.
Right.
A lot of composers are not internal. Another internal composer is Mike Salvatore and what's his name? That did Halo. Mike Salvatore and I gotta look it up.
And the other guy.
There's another guy. Yeah. Hold on.
Holding.
If I can find it. Oh my god, it's gonna.
Halo.
I gotta dig.
All right. Well,
Yeah, go ahead,
let's
go
keep
ahead,
going
go
here.
ahead.
So, Dan Houser, Michael Unsworth, and Christian Cantamessa. God, that's going to be tough for me. Wrote Red Dead Redemption's 1,500-page script in about 2 years, taking inspiration from films like The Wild Bunch, High Plains Drifter, Unforgiven, and The Proposition. The team,
Marty O'Donnell.
Oh, right,
They were
okay.
internal Bungie composers. Anyway,
Got
sorry.
it.
Go ahead.
The team felt that most Western fiction took place between 1840 and 1880, and Red Dead Redemption's setting of 1911 allowed for a more intriguing analysis of the transformation of, quote, the Old West into the modern world. So, yeah, they seem to really kind of hone in on that, of course.
Yeah.
Hauser, however, did feel that the story did not fully represent the racial attitudes commonly associated with the game's era, a choice made by developers to avoid using language that, quote, is insanely offensive to modern ears. Which is
Sure.
interesting
Sure.
to talk about, because I think you do either have to commit to like what Django does or just go the way that they went.
Did they say the
Yeah.
N-word in Red Dead 2?
No, but they there's some comments
I know there's
that,
some
like,
racism. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you know what? Lenny, doesn't he say it?
I think he says like
Because
The
I know
old-
he talks about how he's treated. and,
yeah,
like,
when they get to like
can't
the southern
remember.
area especially, that's when he brings it up. He's like why isn't everyone yeah, I think
They
it's
might
actually
let
very
him
well
drop
handled
one.
in that,
I don't know though.
yeah,
but not super overt either.
I mean, I know they're saying the word Negro. you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
not hard R in it.
No, well, no, yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
regarding the game's depiction of violence, the team wanted it to feel, quote, slightly raw and unpleasant, unquote. More
Sure.
like more like Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian than Little House on the Prairie. attempting realism without exaggeration. It's funny because
It
I do
feels
think there's a
gritty.
bit of exaggeration. I don't know. Maybe brains do blow out that way in real life. I'd never have seen someone get shot. So there,
I imagine it's pretty gnarly.
it's pretty gnarly. So yeah, because when you shoot someone in this, the way they're like, there's like a huge gash out the back of their head.
Mushrooms out the back. Yeah.
They definitely do it more in Red Dead, even still too. I mean, there's a lot of violence in that you can see. Definitely more
you can do, like,
Tarantino-ish
body
violence.
parts in that too, right? Like
Yeah.
you could just shoot a
Yeah, you can
hand
blow
off,
off
a
hands.
leg,
And legs, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can make someone a nub, I think. Actually.
I was watching a video. This is relevant. That Call of Duty World at War was so much bloodier than like any other Call of Duty, where you were blowing limbs off, like the shotgun, like would the mist of blood that would like come out, like sort of reminds me of this sort of like grounded, gritty violence. It's not like hyper violence. It's like it feels real, but like maybe a bit Tarantino, like you were saying, Trio.
Right, yeah.
But it's appropriate. I feel like it works.
I agree. I do. I think it's. Oh man, what did I just do here?
Your
Control Z.
You're highlighting.
I was
Okay.
trying to like check things off as we were going through. Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep going here. The game features around 450 characters with a cast of approximately 100 incidental and 50 main performers. When it comes to the working conditions of Rockstar at this time, the age-old question of crunch had reared its ugly head. The wives of Rockstar San Diego employees
That's pretty
raised
funny.
concern about poor working conditions during development, with former employees describing the project as, quote, an organic disaster, leading to some key team members even leaving Rockstar. Rockstar, of course, denies all these allegations, as well as emphasizing their commitment to a fulfilling work environment. It's just interesting because that was also a big issue when Red Dead 2 came out. That was talked about.
Jason Schreier's like report on the
Right.
crunch at Rockstar. I mean, like it just seems like they're such a big developer. This culture will probably
It's just the way it unfortunately goes to a
persist.
degree.
Like we're probably gonna get a similar report about GTA 6 and the crunch. Like
110%.
it's sad, but it just seems to be the reality of working on a game of this size.
I don't know. I can live with it.
Well, and they did, and dude, I will say, I remember he was talking. He's like, "Listen,
Okay.
we're not asking
Yeah.
people to stay for those extra hours at all, but like, we
You might
work
not
with
have a
people who are
job
at-
if you don't.
Well, no, I think it's it's definitely that thing of like, oh well, we kind of maybe notice who did and who didn't, but then also like there are some people who are probably actually pretty passionate. And are like, yeah, I do actually kind of want to work 40 hours this week or whatever, 50 hours because I'm like we're approaching the end
Dude,
here, and I
I
want
get
to
it.
kick
I've
ass.
had
But,
jobs where I don't know when to stop.
yeah,
But like,
it is partly on management though at that point too to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
actually
yeah,
do
yeah.
it. So
without knowing more and without being there, like I can't even comment other than to say, nice job on the game. It was
Right.
worth. I hope it was worth your time
Because
it
I
was
think
to
it
me.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
like,
it
I
was.
adore it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
it
all
was
in
to
all.
me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think when this game came out, 2010. I think we're entering the era of when games become these like massive projects. Like there's the end of like I don't know. These medium-sized projects that come out and they're like not super long, and then like we're getting into the next gen, Xbox One, PS4 generation, and now games are super fucking big and they take super long
Especially
to make, and they
AAA
cost
games,
a
yeah.
shit ton of money.
Storage,
and
yeah.
now like I think we're kind of seeing the outcome of that sort of like destroy the industry from within inside. We're seeing a lot of layoffs. 2024 has been one of the worst years for layoffs in the video game industry ever.
Right.
Bungie, as of recording, like last week, laid off 200 people.
Right.
Like it's
Last
clear.
week.
I will say
Last
that
week?
like
Last week, yeah.
profits are still fine.
Right.
Like I think that's one thing. I don't think it's on the down.
I
Gaming's
think-
never going to go away or crash.
No, I think the way games are as projects are laid
shit
out
show? Yeah.
probably need to change.
I agree with that.
It's weird. It's hard to like figure out like how do you make the same game but like organize it better.
I wonder
Like,
if it's just scheduling issues.
Well, I was gonna
like
say,
we
I
need this
think-
done by this day. Big push. Okay, now we have to wait for this. We don't need that crew. Big, like any like construction is what I'm thinking of. Like, is it just in building this massive thing? They don't know how to balance like when they need people, and
Well,
it
it's
kind
weird.
of all
And, like,
catches
this is
up
like
to
one
them.
of the
I don't know
only
if it's
industries
that.
that like they were talking about this on Sega Symbols, and I thought it was interesting. Like it is one of the only industries where you really have to. I don't know. I guess maybe in the entertainment, like when you're a crewman on like a film, there's going to be ones coming around the corner a lot, and there's like you're probably going to find work, I would assume. Whereas I feel like with this, even as a developer, you would feel a lot less secure in your position. Even like because even when you're like developers that are shipping great games that are being beloved are still getting cuts. So it's like I'm making an awesome game and then I'm getting fired still. What are we doing here? I don't know. It does become almost untenable at some point, but at the same time, gaming is a pillar of culture now. It's never going away. It's like it's as important as movies, I think. I mean, it makes more money than that at this point. So like I agree with you though, Gooch. Something has to change. Something has to give. And I think a lot of it comes down to organization and people at the head of these companies that don't know what they're doing at all. Who made the decision to make Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League?
Right,
a board of fucking idiots.
Yeah, a suit.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
You
somebody who
just wasted
doesn't understand the
games
climate
at all.
of the
No.
industry and yeah.
An expert.
Right. An executive
Yeah.
with a nice title and a nice
Exactly.
paycheck.
Well, I
Yeah.
saw that this made money. Let's do this. It was like, honestly, it's what Marvel did with all their movies. They thought they could make an Endgame every 2 years and make $1 billion. Look at them now. Anyways, I could go on.
Nah. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Don't trio. Don't go on.
I'm done.
Yeah, that's it with the background. And so we were gonna do like a Red Dead 2 preamble. We kind of already like did.
Yeah, I don't think I
guess it's just kind of like, hey, okay, Red Dead 2. We watched the Vanderlyn gang sort of
fall apart.
Yeah. John gets fucked over in their last big heist, and that is sort of what causes the group to fracture. It's like Arthur and John and Abigail versus like Bill, Dutch, Javier, and then like everyone else sort of just leaves. But it's
Don't
really
you dare forget that rat piece of shit.
oh yeah, Micah.
What
Bell.
about goddamn one of the best characters in the game, fucking Sadie?
Oh, of course, yeah. But she really isn't involved in that last.
Yeah, she does. Well,
is she?
I mean, not like in the final
Not in, like-
shootout, but
right,
like
she's
she's
not-
there to help. But I think and she comes back to help John.
She clearly takes the side, but
I'm
she's
trying to remember. I think she is there. And then they kill the older woman. Fuck, why am I'm forgetting all their names now. This is
I
terrible.
know, I'm like-
the like camp, like the woman who would run the camp.
yeah, the girl that Dutch was with, right?
No, the older woman. Remember, she's
Chick with dark hair.
yes,
like,
she always
She
yells at
is
everyone to do their
Dutch's chick.
job.
I think she is Dutch's like slam.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
think they
remember
did
her
slam
name.
sometime, but no,
Maybe
the
slam-
redhead was the one who got shot because she said that she was the traitor and she wasn't.
Right,
Because
yeah,
she
yeah.
wanted him to kill her.
It was Micah Bell.
Micah Bell.
That dirty son of a bitch.
But I do think this game was very much written. I mean, it obviously was at a different time when they didn't fully expand upon the Vanderlyn gang and what
We're
that
talking
looks
about
like.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are definitely some inconsistencies, some more noticeable than others.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about them because I even noticed them. Like one of them was like
John's
John has
daughter.
a daughter. He mentions it
Which
twice.
that one's
and
not
I'm just
the
like,
one to me that I even
He
like
mentioned
think
it
about.
twice. You've mentioned it 1,000
Like,
times.
did
I'm
you
like,
know John had a daughter?
Yeah.
John had a daughter? Yeah. Question mark? Question mark?
I mean, we were going to see Arthur's son in the game. That was some of the cut content. That's like why there was I think 12 hours of content cut from Red Dead 2.
Wow.
Or maybe 13. A whole area further up in the Grizzlies and everything that they cut out. People have gotten into it and stuff like that to check it out.
Data mined it.
Yeah, and and have gotten
Is it
like
finished?
glitched into. It's not fully finished, but there's a lot out there.
Is the dialogue done?
No. So like they can get into the area. I'm saying like the area.
Okay,
is
but like the
walk back.
quests are not
no,
done.
no.
There's
And
just
you
like
can get
files
into
there.
you can get into Mexico too in Red Dead 2 on the online. But yeah,
Have you
Yeah.
done that?
no. I think they might have patched it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so and like correct me if I'm wrong, you played Red Dead 2 more recently than I have.
Yeah, I played it last
we
year.
get that epilogue, Arthur dies, the Vanderlyn gang is gone to the wind, supposedly. John starts normal life, starting his
Homesteading.
family,
Why
right?
did he
Becomes
use Jim Milton.
becomes
Just stick to it. He keeps going back and forth. He's like, I'm Jim Milton. No, I'm John
does
Marston.
is he
I'm Jim
does he Jim Milton it in Red Dead 1?
No, he doesn't at all. That's the funny thing.
Is that his cover name? In
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jim Milton.
what's some of Arthur's?
I can't even remember it.
Well, they used Tenacitus Kildor.
Yeah,
Kildor
Kildor,
or something
yeah,
like that's what they
Tenacitus.
send people to.
Yeah,
Oh no, it's like
Kilgore.
Teracitus or something.
Kilgore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
An insane name.
Yeah,
Don't want
that's
to draw any.
Jim Milton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the John Smith of the Old West.
Yeah.
Tenacitus or whatever.
Yeah, so starts the family. They build Beecher's Hope. Of course, Uncle is there with them. Sadie alerts them to the fact that Micah and Dutch are in the area. John goes to confront them. Micah is killed. Dutch flees, and then
Well, he doesn't know Dutch is there when he goes. He only thinks Mike is there.
oh yeah, okay. See, there we go. That's why you're here. And then John proposes to Abigail, and that's sort of the end. They start their life, and then I guess in some point in time,
Charles
they
is there.
established themselves. Yeah, there's some other characters.
Sadie's still with him.
Yeah, they establish herself. I guess they have a miscarriage or they have a daughter and she dies. You know, again,
Yeah,
we're talking
that's where
about
we-
that thing. Got to talk about it.
We need closure for Gooch on this.
But
one, dude.
you know, the big thing is that the Pinkertons have been on their tail this whole time.
We don't know they're the Pinkertons though at this game. See, that's the other thing where it's like certain things they're just an unnamed government agency.
Right, they're
in this.
feds.
Yeah.
But like in real life, the Pinkertons are hired to be federal agents.
Right.
And they essentially like
they're like
the
precursor,
Pinkertons still exist.
precursor FBI,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
basically.
they become the FBI and like the
Well,
government
yeah, they
agency
break up- yeah,
suite.
exactly.
Yeah.
The preamble, if you will.
But Trio, I mean, with that being said, start us off.
So yeah, a bit of a chapter intro here. We begin our journey with John Marston, our protagonist, being led off a boat by two unknown government agents to a train that will take him to the town of Armadillo. His mission: to eliminate Bill Williamson, an infamous outlaw and fellow member of John's old gang. John must kill his former brother in cold blood to save the life of his wife and child. He believed he outran that life, but the dawn of a new age means that things don't disappear like they used to. Will John Marston find the redemption he is forced to seek? I don't know. We'll see. For this episode, we'll be covering the entirety of the New Austin chapter of Red Dead Redemption, ending with the mission, the assault on Fort Mercer. All right, gentlemen. So now we're just kind of in the review portion here.
So
What do we think?
it kind of opens. It's a cold open, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like it just kind of like here we go.
Yeah.
No explanation. Like clearly, John is being escorted by, what are their names? Ross.
It's Ross,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the other dude's name. He's not in the Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
Only
no,
Ross is.
Yeah. So, and he's got a mission, and it's to kill Bill Williamson, and we know like literally nothing else.
And you're just taken to the fort, and it's like, all right. I guess
Right,
we're
and he's
doing
like,
this.
"Oh, I'm gonna try to kill." Oh, I'm dead.
Bill Williamson.
Yeah.
I've come for you. Bill
Your
Williamson.
time is up. Yeah. Like it almost seems kind of dumb. He just
It's absolutely
he
idiotic.
rolls up, just gets shot.
What did you think was going to happen, John?
Yeah.
No surprise, dude. But I think it gets going so much faster than 2. Like
I agree.
starting 2 is daunting.
Oh, I bet.
When you have to just like
Go
you
your
only
way
play
through the
one- you only play
snow,
one,
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
cool. It's actually like knowing what's coming and all. Like you appreciate it more. But I remember like wanting to get to it so bad the first time I played.
I love slow.
Where coming back to this, I was like, damn, you're like already doing
Throws
stuff.
you right
like
in.
and like there's none of the slow walking or less of it, I should say.
It's
Yeah,
like 10, 20 minutes
when you're
Yeah,
until like when Bonnie rescues you, and that's when the
Right.
game
you
actually
can like go to
begins.
Armadillo and like go in the general store. in,
Yeah.
like,
Right,
20
yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
they really let you loose like almost immediately.
Again, it's that
Yeah.
arcadey. It's like an actual game.
yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Speaking of more arcadey, though, what did you think about how the horse stamina works in this Gooch? As someone who went from Red Dead 2 to this, like, did you find it weird, annoying? Because
I feel like my horse is really losing energy quick.
well, and the thing is, you just have to. It's so much more different because you almost have to like alternate your taps if you want to sprint.
yeah.
So you
like
you
I'm
don't,
usually like
like
kind of like a heartbeat. Like
it drains steadily, and
Yeah.
then you can maintain.
right.
Like
yeah, the controls are similar, but they're different. They just feel like kind of worse. It took like a minute to get used to, but like I've kind of figured it out. But yeah, maybe worse is a bit too.
can you change the camera depth?
I think you can. Yeah, with
Dude,
the select
you-
button.
You can
Well,
change
it's-
the
it's-
map.
It's the capture button, right?
Oh yeah.
Because
But
that was
that's
driving me
still usually
crazy.
wor-
That was
You
driving me
might
crazy that
not
I
be
couldn't
able to in
I
Red
couldn't
Dead
on
1.
my console. So like, dude, it drove me nuts because like every GTA and Red Dead 2.
you mean you can do like a different
So it's-
field of view?
Yeah, so like you know how in like Red Dead 2 you can be like first person right behind you,
Right,
further back,
really-
even further
Yeah,
back. Like,
yeah. There's none of that. Yeah.
Dude, I usually play on like the middle one
Okay.
or furthest.
I noticed
back.
like the map you can do that with. You can zoom it out, and I think
Yeah,
in Red
that's
Dead 2 there's
Rockstar.
like a middle one, and they only have 2 options. Maybe I'm wrong,
But
but
yeah, I don't know if you can in Red Dead 1.
No, you definitely
I think there's
can,
only
'cause you
the-
definitely
that
can.
drove me crazy. I'm
There's
like,
only
it's
you
too
can switch
close.
shoulders though.
Yes, you
which
can,
is cool.
which I actually like a lot.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
but
you
that
can
drove
do
me
them too.
crazy. That's like one of the things. At first, I'm used to it now, but like
Yeah.
there's times when I'm like doing whatever, and I'm like, I really wish I had like a wider field of view right
yeah.
now. But you know, when I played it at first, I didn't know that. It was just like through like GTA, I'm like, this is the shit that you can. And then Red Dead.
No,
2.
you would think it makes sense with the
Yeah,
through line. There's
but-
even something very random tangent, but in like Starfield, you can't, like in old Bethesda games, you can't control the camera as like specifically, like you can't pull it out like to a specific thing. And I'm like, why would you take that away? Like there's certain things where it's like, what are we doing? But Yeah, I think the game plays still remarkably well, though. For
Yeah,
how old it is.
I think it does too.
But I don't think it's unfair to say it's worse because obviously,
Yeah, it's just not as tight.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's not like it's more like a fact than it is like an opinion. You
Exactly.
know?
But you calling it arcade like really helps differentiate. Like it's different in its own, and it's good. But like obviously there's improvements with the 2. But like for a game of its time, like that was like next level. Like
There's
there's
a lot of menuing. I'm constantly going to the map, and I feel like I'm like, this is not intuitive. The inventory menu, I just felt, there's like, I think like the additions of like the wheel for everything in Red Dead 2.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, like, and I
well,
mean
you
like
have the wheel in this too. Like the actual other stuff wheel. Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't even like, I'm not even
it's
using
like
my
Baldur's Gate
Apple.
too, where it's like everything can kind of be sorted out.
I feel like I'm just not like I only use health when I really need to, or like even use my Deadeye refill.
I have to use health a lot.
I just
That's
feel like there's no
hardcore
point of some of these items because it's not intuitive to use them. I can't just quickly do the wheel in gameplay. I have to like pause it and like hit X, and then I'm like, okay. Yeah.
I do think that the menus are pretty snappy though, so it doesn't make me feel like it's dragging me down. Like I click it, it's up, I go over, I hit it.
I agree.
And especially if you're keeping your inventory empty from like food and different pelts and shit like that.
We're talking about 2.
No, in 1. Because then it starts to get really filled up and things like that.
I think Chris was saying, even though there's a lot of needing to do that, it's quick
because it's just at the top. Like, I need medicine. I click select and go over once. It's right there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I
do think
don't
that's a
mean
fair
that.
point.
I just mean like getting to that menu just feels like a total cut gameplay. You're in the menu now.
Yeah, for sure.
I think like again.
Would you prefer like a hotkey for stuff or like something?
No,
like that,
I think I just prefer like that weapon wheel, like they do in Red Dead 2.
Like how it slows down the time and it just like
they
takes
clearly
you for
improved upon that. Like,
this is one of those interesting like. We played it before.
Yeah.
It's not new to us. And
right,
like,
so it
now
doesn't
you're
bother
having
you.
to like so it's funny to see that. Like, it makes sense what you're saying, but like it's just we're used to it. I think
absolutely.
Like,
kind of snapping over into the story. I did notice this through line, and I think Red Dead 2 has this, that like, you know, you're kind of learning that Arthur is like not really this, like he's not bad, and neither is John.
Right.
They kind of do bad things for their own good, but like, you know, I think it's clear in Red Dead 2 that like, again, the world is leaving the outlaws behind, and they all realize that, but they still like kind of clinging to it. John is kind of like accepted that and is like moved past that, but at the same time, he still is in the past.
You can't escape it.
He is killing people for justice. He's still like an outlaw. He's just in a situation where he has to kill to save his own skin.
Well, but then he thinks he feels he has a code like they all did, and they talk about that even in Red Dead 2.
We had a code.
Like the idea is like we're robbing the right people.
We're killing the Robin Hood
yeah, Dutch.
mindset.
You know, we're
Robin Hood type
We
shit.
consider ourselves Robin Hoods.
I can't wait to talk about Mexico, because I feel like Mexico and the Gray versus the Braithwaite situation is very similar, because it's kind of like this political, like you get involved in this conflict you're not really involved.
Right,
like,
that makes sense.
You're not really
Yeah.
in. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Arthur, you know, like a lot of people are like kind of questioning who Arthur is, and he's just like, or sorry, John. A lot of people are questioning who John is, like the marshal, and like, you know, they all kind of like, oh, John's a good person, but like he still like needs to kill these people, and like he still doesn't feel like a lawman. Like he doesn't fit in. He doesn't fit in with the marshal and his deputies.
Well, yeah, because
like,
he's being made to do it. Like he's not there because he wants to be. He says it even. We won't get. There's one point he's like, "It's either you or me," and I'd rather be you. Might as well be you.
Yeah.
So,
he says that to Javier.
Yeah, and I think like that's really the main part of it. He stresses how much he doesn't want to be there. He's like, I'm here because I have absolutely no choice.
Resistant participant.
Yeah, I'm trying to save my family.
Yeah.
I want to go back to being a farmer.
I don't know if I agree that like Arthur and John are good.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that. I'm a fan of the two of them as the player, but like I think they're like conflicted in some of what they do, and they're true to their own like moral compass, but I don't think their moral compass skews good. Okay. It's like very situational.
So like
they're
D&D
pragmatic, sort of. Yeah, like they're true to who they are, which you can respect. They're not chaotic. They're not like
Yeah, they're not
unpredictable
Dutch.
so
They're
much.
not needlessly malice.
Yeah, exactly. They're not cruel.
Yeah.
But they're not like good. I think they're just like victims of circumstance. Like they came up in this real rough lifestyle that like didn't discourage violence. It didn't encourage good behavior. It's just kind of like
Encourage the opposite, actually. Go against the man.
Yeah, exactly. Like so like I think they're, if there's a spectrum, Dutch is on the far bad end and they're on the far good end, yes. But like I don't think anybody on that spectrum is good.
I think you just see it kind of come out with like Bonnie,
They're
especially.
anti-heroes. They're anti-heroes is what I'm getting at. I guess.
Absolutely.
So like,
I
don't think they're good. Even though they are the good guys.
I just see like the way he interacts with Bonnie, and it just like like he doesn't feel bad. Like he's like he sits down with and like he's helping them out, and and like Arthur does those kind of things too. But I feel like Arthur is older than John, and he realizes that like I feel like John has naivety in him still, and because he's younger, like in 2 and in 1. But again, he is doing this because he has to save his wife and daughter, and maybe it's just a means to an end.
Yeah,
Sorry, his son.
Stop talking about the daughter.
Like, like it's weird. It feels almost like robotic, but like I kind of do feel like he says that, and he totally acts like he's doing this just for himself, but at the same time, like I don't believe it.
Well, no, I do, and I think like I don't think it's necessarily right to say they aren't. It's weird. We're getting into this question of morality now. What is good? I think the canonical version, quote unquote, because in Red Dead 2 you can be an asshole, and even the cutscenes reflect that when you do go low on her. But I do think the idea with even Arthur by the end is he's trying to find just meaning in life. Like even that last moment he has with the like, oh, it's so good. And he's like, I don't know what it's all for. Like he starts crying, and he's just like, I don't even know what's gonna happen. I'm
scared,
sister. And like he's like, did I do the right thing? I thought I was in the moment, but now I'm questioning. Whereas I think John's journey is more about like he found what he was looking for, and he was trying to secure it and keep it.
And he got out.
And he did, but the government's not letting that go.
It's classic John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick's not a good guy, but he got out.
This is very much a John Wick story. It's like, true. I guess John Wick is very much a Red Dead story. You're trying to tell me I'm like that guy,
Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves. But yeah, I don't know. I think John is much more just straightforward in that respect. But I do think there are those moments that show it through.
Arthur in this game.
For sure. And I think that's a part of the I think he's way more even complex in Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
And I think
John?
that just comes and I think that just comes with
John.
Rockstar getting better at writing and knowing exactly what they want to write, and even being able to expound upon what exactly happened with the gang, because it's very amorphous in this game.
Yeah.
You just know, honestly, when I first played this game, I assumed the gang had like 4 people, 5 people. I don't even know what I thought the Vanderlyn gang was.
6.
Really. So it is so cool to be able to go back and get those gaps filled in. Mm-hmm. But in that moment, it's just like, oh, these were just a group of people who ran together and they fucked him over, and then he left them, but now he's getting dragged back in.
Yeah, and John talks about, like occasionally he'll be like, like when he, his relationship with Bill, and is like, how do, the deputy, a lot of people are like, how the hell do you know him? We
ran again.
We ran in together, We were brothers once.
We had a code,
but we're not brothers no more. Like like there's clearly this relationship that's just he doesn't really seem to care about, because I think he realizes that, and I think you guys would all agree that Bill and Dutch and Javier are not good people.
No,
and they were never good people. And they were in a gang to be in a gang, and they really had malicious intent.
See, and then you start getting into that thing of like, I personally don't believe Dutch was bad at the beginning of Red Dead 2. I think I think the events of that game lead him to insanity. Maybe some of that bad side was always here, but whereas like
more money.
Dutch, I have $5,000 in my pocket, please.
Rich
John,
as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just look at my suit. It is. It's a very interesting and different story comparatively, but when you start to talk about Bill and like, I think he is the most consistent between these two games.
He is
and it is the same actor. It's not the same for Javier.
I noticed.
But I do think getting to see him in this light, especially in that first mission, he has his own like crew, and everyone seems to respect him for some reason.
Bill.
And even John's talking about that. He's like, honestly, like, Bill was kind of the whipping boy. Like, he was an idiot. Like, I don't know how
but like
this team works. Yeah.
his villainy and his rise to leadership like makes a lot of sense. Like
Yeah.
it like. And again, like them talking about like the marshal talking about like what he's done in the area and stuff like that. And some of the missions are really revolve around like some smaller gangs, and then you realize like it's it's Bill's gang.
Yeah.
And like again, like the severity of what they're doing, and it's like I'm not surprised. Like Bill's a pretty fucked dude in Red Dead 2. Yeah, brutal,
A closeted
really harsh.
man, apparently, too, from Red Dead 2. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Closeted.
Yeah, I mean, he's gay.
He is?
They like mentioned it like a few times. Like they make
Remind
jokes
me.
about like there's like
I
a
don't
few
remember
jokes
that.
that they keep making about him, and
Really?
like he seems to be touchy. Yeah, he's I think supposed to be a closeted
I
gay
thought
man.
they just made him like a creep. I don't remember.
I might be
Really?
wrong, but I'm pretty confident that's like what they're very much
wow.
like.
Is this a fun fact?
It wasn't. I thought that was kind of like out there, but maybe I know
No.
too much.
I didn't
But,
pick up on that at all.
Yeah, no, that's because they mentioned it a few times, and they even talk. There's like a few little things in the campaign that they like point to, and that he does in two, not in
Okay.
this. That's yeah. So let's just get into down the list here. I'm curious.
Yeah, sure.
What was your favorite character of this chapter? Would you say?
Case.
I gotta think for a minute if you have.
I can go
Yeah.
right into it if you guys
Yeah,
want me
go
to.
for it.
I do love the marshal a lot. Just
Yeah.
that he's this guy
The
trying
wall
to take
man.
care of this town.
Yeah.
He's
That's a good
doing the
one.
best he
Yeah.
can. John comes in and he's like, dude, just help me out and I'll do what I can. Okay? And he doesn't even really want to get into it with John about like, he's like, I don't know why you're here. I just know that some government men said that you're coming by and now you're here.
chewing
so
on this huge like
it's so good. Yeah.
chicory root. Like,
The way
cigar,
he's
yeah.
introduced to, I love you go in and you see the deputy and you think he's the sheriff. He's like, you called for me? He's like, I did. It's like, yeah, what the fuck? He's like, well, for what? And he's like, I don't know.
yeah.
And then they pull out the guns. Then Marshall just comes in calm as can be with this
Yeah.
thing, like you're saying. And it's just like, all right, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk it through. But yeah, I think he's absolutely one of my favorites. And honestly, I mean, Bonnie's great just as like kind of a character foil for
Yeah,
John.
Bonnie's hard to dislike.
To dislike, but I think actually Wes Dickens ends up coming in a close second for me.
I think he's my favorite
Because he hasn't
Wes
come around.
Dickens.
Like, you think at first he is just this kind of piece of shit, which he kind of is, mostly.
He's a
snake oil salesman.
dopinder level enjoyable character.
Yes.
Where you're like, this guy's such a mess, but like complements the main character so well.
Right.
Like he's like just somebody that he just keeps moving forward, destroying everything in his wake, like causing trouble left and right.
And you
I
think he's
enjoyed
kind
him.
of an idiot, but like he actually, you're like, he actually kind of does know
Yeah.
what he's doing. Like, because you're like, where's this going? And he's like,
Yeah.
dude, we need money to armor up this vehicle to get a
Yeah.
fucking gun. And you're like,
But he's got an angle.
you do have
He's
a plan.
got an angle the whole
Yeah,
time.
of
though,
course. Yeah, it's really good.
I have to say that before,
Yeah.
Gucci, you have your favorite.
What's the name of the dude who does the grave robbing?
Seth.
Seth.
Seth. I feel like I noticed in this game's just again. Sorry, comparing them both. The characters in Stranger Missions in Red Dead 1, the characters are much crazier.
Yeah.
And zany.
I
Like,
agree.
I know there's some weird stuff in Red Dead 2. Like, the characters are just kind of goofy, but the characters in this are just weird.
Yeah.
Like, they're, like, there's the American Appetite Stranger Mission where you find out, like, there's cannibals.
Yep.
Like, it's just really weird and, like, think of, like, some, like, Wild West crazy story. Like, that's what the Stranger Missions sort of encompass.
Yeah, you find
in
like a
way.
woman that's like dying on the side of the road, and she's like, "Oh, God will heal me.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
fine." And then you bring her medicine, and she's like, "God has saved
Yeah,
me."
yeah.
Yeah, and then the
God,
girl,
I do
like,
it.
looking for her husband, and her husband's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Cena.
A Stranger Mission I really like, and I'm curious, like, maybe not spoil it, but the guy who goes, "I know you, John Mars." Is that Trelawney?
No.
That's who it looks
So
like.
he's in the second game too. He is an Easter egg. I can tell you who he supposedly is,
No.
but like we'll get to it. near
I
the
mean,
end.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm going to
I
progress.
actually wait because there's once you get to the third chapter, he
He's
shows
like,
up again.
And he's literally like, "I don't know you.
He's like, "Who are you?
I know you, John
Do you
Marston."
know who that's
Yeah.
supposed to be?"
I don't even remember this.
So
person.
he's like on
He
the
asked
cliff
you to
at New
go-
Austin. And he's like, "I need you to go see about a man up at Thieves Landing. He's going to cheat on his wife,
Right, yeah.
And you need to you can either convince him to go through with it and give him money, or tell him to not do it."
I don't know if I
And
did
he's like
that
a
one.
guy in a black top hat and a suit.
Yeah, he looks like Trelawney, but he
definitely
does not
does.
talk like him.
Yeah.
But he looks like him,
must
and
not
that's
have
what
got
I
it.
It's
thought.
the I can't remember what he's called. I think he's just the stranger,
Yeah, no, the mystery man,
the man
strange
in black
man.
or something. Like
Yeah, and I'm like, what's this?
It's
I'll
interesting,
have to go look
especially if you don't know anything, especially the last. Have you been doing all the stranger missions?
Yeah, like as many as I.
So
Can check
the
off.
first one is in New Austin, where he's like on the road that leads to Bonnie on that cliff.
Yeah, it's outside McFarlane's
The guy who
ranch.
tells you to go buy the property.
No,
No.
that's a different dude. He is on that. He's on the same road though. But
Okay.
it's as you get up and around the cliff, he's like sitting there and he tells you to go to Thieves Landing and talk to a dude.
I think I missed that.
But then he shows up again in Mexico.
Yeah.
And you gotta. What does he have you do?
I
again?
forget.
I
but-
forget too.
Yeah.
I think you actually might just talk to him in that one.
Yeah,
I think
you're
it
right.
is. He doesn't have you do anything.
But yeah, I think Seth is kind of like really goofy, like
He is,
again, like really zany, like really weird, and like yeah, again, like Red Dead 1, it has a lot of weird to it. But go ahead.
I agree with that. Weird, and I think even though 2, like there's dark stuff in 1, I think 2 stuff is a lot of times like darker and more disturbing. Where,
Yeah.
like,
Right, like the
it's
Mumphrey
almost like-
Brood, yeah.
it's almost like comical weird in 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like Seth is crazy, pulling dead, like it's over the top. Where
Irish
like,
is a drunk.
yeah. Oh, about Irish, my favorite line so far has been, "I thought I drunk me last breakfast this morning." Like that was, I was like literally the funniest line. That was my favorite so far. But I was gonna say you were like, it's hard not to like Bonnie. Like I don't really like Bonnie.
Oh, fair.
But
Really?
I think it's
What about? Her
I think
dad?
it's inconsistencies in writing where like you'll be riding, she'll be like, "You're a good man, Mr. Marsh," and then you ride, and she's like, she's like, "Well, you're no good. Like you were running around." Like she's like very wishy, like back and forth with like how she feels about you.
Sure.
So like
Well, she obviously has a crush on John, right?
I
So
can't
that's-
even
Really? You
tell.
think?
I can't
That's
even
why.
I mean,
tell.
Well, that's why because
man,
of the
there's
part
some
she's
tension.
like, "Call me Bonnie, you dolt." She wants to
yeah,
fuck him. She
yeah,
wants a
well,
husband.
yeah.
And she
yeah,
wants.
okay.
Because
She
she's
knows.
talking about how all the dudes around the camp. So
Yeah.
I think the only time that she
How are you
really,
not married? Yeah, he says that. Yeah, yeah.
I think the only time she gets, I'd say, quote unquote, wishy washy, like she starts going off on John, but it's after they find that like band of people fucked up by a gang. And she's like, "You're telling me you used to do fucking shit like that? And what, you had a code? Oh, your big bad code." Like, I don't know. I did think she was a bit more consistent than that, but I'd have to kind of think
I
back.
just like think of all like riding together. Like it felt like she was always yelling at you. And
Yeah,
you're
right.
like, all right,
Hey,
are
leave me
you
alone,
like,
man.
are
Yeah.
you like here to like, are we friends or not? I like couldn't get a great. And
That's
then it's
fair.
not even just her. There's some other characters that I would be like, I'm like, why am I getting badgered by this person right
The
now? I'm
Marshal, I
literally
think,
on
kinda
my
does
way
it.
to help you do something. Like, why are you
Irish especially, he's a little
on-
piece of shit.
Yeah, but he's like funny.
Swirly,
like,
yeah.
It's like they would put it probably was the Marshal and Bonnie, but they put these two people as like the true North good people,
Right.
and then like you're trying to help them, and they're just like talking down to you. I'm like, who would want to deal with that? Like,
I do know
like,
what
it's
you're
hard
talking-
to like them. In
I'm
those
just here to
moments.
do. I'm just
In
here to
those
do a
moments.
job.
So I
I
shouldn't
know
say
there's one
it's not
part
that I
with
don't like her. It's just
No, I hear you.
got annoyed easily, and maybe it's because it's been like X amount of times playing it.
Right.
And I'm like, I forgot she's such a like fucking hand job
No.
about stuff. Like, she's just like.
Yeah, no, and even the Marshal does, like, when you're going to rescue her, he's like, "I hope you're not taking advantage of the McFarlanes, Marston." And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "I fucking ran into a burning building for these guys, goddammit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?" He's like, "I know
very-
you want to
Yeah,
help."
and
but
the
they're-
dad's like
they're
very
good
trusting
people.
in you, like pretty quickly. Like,
Yeah, and I
you've
do-
done good around here.
Yeah.
I did love the moment, like, of when they start talking politics and stuff like that. And he's like, "They're sending all these government boys down to do what we used to do, and I just think there's nothing right about it." There's
Yeah,
all these
I
secret
like that
agents
mention.
and missions and stuff like
Right.
talking about like stuff that really is elevated to today for sure, like government involvement and
Right.
shady dealings within that. It's interesting.
Again,
Yeah.
but like I think that also speaks to like I know they're not like in name, but like the Pinkertons and
For
how
sure.
and how they worked and how they were this really brutal agency and known for like killing people,
Right.
Like
Yeah.
not just like investigating,
Stamping
like,
out, like,
like just killing people.
Unions and shit like that, right? That was big
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff. I think Irish is another one there for me though too, for sure. That the first time you're introduced to him, it's hilarious. He's just getting
Nigel
beat up.
West Dickens, I think, is just the stereotype
Yeah,
of
we
like,
were talking,
hey,
yeah.
we're gonna go into the town and sell
Snake-
you
yeah, snake oil.
the snake oil and wolf tickets or
Yeah.
whatever, you know,
No,
and
it
like
was-
here's your bullshit,
He's great.
and
for
you
sure.
get roped into helping him.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Irish though, because that is my favorite line.
Yeah.
Was that just running out of armadillo with him, and he just goes, "Oh, I
He
thought I
has a
drunk
gr-
me last breakfast this morning." Yeah.
Even when he's like robbing the nuns, he's like, "Put them up." Like
Yeah,
the way he
yeah,
does,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
funny. I do like him a lot.
I love a good funny Irish character.
Absolutely. We kind of went into the stranger missions, but like any standouts
for
there for
Irish,
you?
you know?
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Any standouts on the stranger missions for you guys in this area?
Not really.
Yeah.
Besides like that one I mentioned.
I
with
think the cannibal one is
mystery
pretty
man.
notable for sure, and the mystery man definitely.
Yeah.
I think they get a little bit more interesting as you go later in the
Agreed.
game. I do like the one for the older gentleman whose wife is dead that you bring flowers. Did you guys do that
I
one?
didn't get
Yes,
that one.
and she's dead inside again. Like
You
whoa.
find him on the side of the road. He's up
Yeah.
near Thieves Landing, and he's like picking flowers. He's like, "What's going on, old timer? Like, you need help?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to pick some flowers for my wife." And he's like, "Okay, yeah." And you're like, "Okay, I'll get you these flowers."
It's
and
the
you
flowers
get them,
in the
and then
game.
you get the flowers and bring them back. And he's like, "Come inside and have tea with my wife." And he's like, "All right, sounds great." And you walk in, and she's just a corpse.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I missed
and he's
that
like, she's like, "Hi, Jenny. Like,
And
this
he's
is
like,
John."
Okay.
And he's like, "I actually gotta go." It's pretty good.
Nice.
Again, very much zany in the way that you're saying,
Yeah,
for sure. Any standout missions for you guys at all? Would you say? I think the assault on Fort Mercer is very much a very
A
great
highlight.
send off
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah, I was waiting for that the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, to get
I
into
will.
it.
I will admit. I mean, again, maybe it's been a while since I played Red Dead 2, but there's a lot of walking to still.
Riding, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like a ton. Like I know there's a lot of dialogue going on,
this
but
one?
Yeah.
And I forget.
skipped everything.
Yeah, I forgot how it is in
Straight
2.
through.
I was just like, yeah, I don't remember there being like this much riding.
There
It'd be,
is.
like you start
Yeah.
and then you ride to the thing and then you usually just kill people. And then,
I think in Red Dead 2 they do more, not all the time, but they will give you the option to just skip the ride or
the,
do
mi-
the ride.
the
skip the
mission
ride every single
the
time.
mission structure
In this.
it does seem a bit recycled.
It's very much the Rockstar mission setup, especially for
For
this
like
time.
every single one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean, like actual what you're doing in the missions and stuff, or
Like the base, we ride, we get there, we kill. Maybe
You
we
walk
ro-
up to the sheriff's office. He's like coming out the door with guns. He's
Right.
like, good, you're here.
I agree with
And
that.
you just
Yeah,
get on the
100%.
horse
Yeah.
and
I don't
get
like.
on.
Red Dead 2 is the same, but I feel like the missions are more interesting.
variety.
Yeah,
For
there's
sure.
more variety sometimes. Yeah.
And I think, they do add some flavors in with stuff in the Nuevo Peso chapter with the cannons and stuff like that. But there is like the horse racing stuff in this chapter too, which I think breaks it up a little bit. I
Forgot that.
Oh God, I hate the herding mission so much. But that's
God,
just
yeah.
it's so
That's part
funny
of the
too.
lack of Bonnie
very
love,
typical
too,
like
yeah.
RPG like
Well,
activity.
And they
Yeah.
made a
Yeah.
joke about that in Red Dead 2 with, I think, when you're getting all the sheep with Arthur or with John, and he's like, John, don't be herding anything. We don't have time to teach you herding right now on top of getting these sheep or something like that. But yeah, thankfully there's only like 2 of those missions, but those are annoying. They don't reach MJ annoyance level for me though. I will say that.
Yeah, I wasn't annoyed by anything. I just was like, I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
we're just doing like the same thing, and like sometimes the dialogue is very interesting, and sometimes it's not.
Well, and they did talk about even in the development how the time period does limit you for sure. You can only do so much. You have horses and wagons and guns.
Yeah.
Whereas in GTA you have horses, wagons, guns,
Miniguns,
helicopters,
rocket launchers,
boats.
yeah.
Like there's just
Yeah.
so much more you can do with
Flying
that.
bikes.
Yeah, I do think Red Dead 2 does a better job of upping that variety, though, like you're saying, Gooch, for sure. Especially in location, because I think you do reuse a lot of locations
Right, you're
in this game
tracking
a
the
lot.
same paths
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
And even
yeah.
I did like the Pikes Basin mission a lot, and then that becomes a gang hideout. Which did you guys take over all the hideouts? Did you
I don't
take
think I
out-
took
I was
over.
doing some of that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like some of them. I think Pikes Basin's more of an annoyance than anything.
Interesting.
You just kind of get like
Is that
stuck
the
in
big
there.
canyon?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. It's when you're going. I like the
north of
mission though.
Armadillo?
It's next to the McFarland Ranch. That one, like that, you go with the marshal to clear it out to get the
horses
horses.
to
back.
get-
And there's the
Yeah.
bridge
yeah.
between like the canyons. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can either go with
What's
them
Twin
and-
Rocks? That's
Twin
another one.
Rocks is
That's also above Armadillo.
that's
right?
to the top left directions
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it. That's another
West,
gang one. Yeah.
northwest, yeah.
But yeah, they're fun. I mean, the last one you can't do until the chapter is over, which is Fort Mercer, and you get a semi-automatic pistol from doing that.
Yeah.
which is nice.
After I bought it.
Yeah.
I-
Well, dude, so that's now
Or
I
no,
know
wait.
all these. Most of the guns you can get through not purchasing them,
Yeah.
except for a few of them, like the Lamat. You only get until after chapter 2.
The guns like we haven't really talked about them, but like I guess from Red Dead 2 because like there's a lot of carryover. Like yeah, they're guns.
For sure, there's way more in Red Dead 2. For
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I just because I had better, now I have worse. It's kind of like I don't really have much to say. It's like the revolver.
Did you get the Henry repeater yet? That's the best repeater.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite repeater.
But I do find I'm just
but
like randomly getting guns, and I'm like, oh, I have this all of a
I
sudden.
use the
Yeah.
buffalo rifle all the time. Just one shot everything.
It is great.
I'm just a murder machine. Unless I have like a challenge I'm trying to do with like disarming or like shooting hats off, like I'm doing that all the time.
Yeah, I like to switch between my guns. The shotguns seem a bit
Semi-auto is beast.
like they're fun, but like I feel like I often like really put myself in like harm's
Well,
way.
I was
trying
gonna
to
say-
utilize them.
For me on hardcore, I don't utilize them that much because you got to get so close and I get fucked up in 2
Yeah,
shots.
yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I do think the weapons are a lot of fun though. They look great. I do like the little weapons menu. I forgot about that you can pull up that like shows you the stats of all of them. And things like
and
that.
it's like you don't really have to use that. So like I almost,
it's
weird.
Again, that's a weird little Rockstar.
Right, like
kind
they
of
just
touch.
have it, but like again, it's inconsequential to you playing.
Yeah, kind of odd for sure. But anything else on chapter 1 here, guys? I think we kind of worked our way through everything here.
Yeah, pretty straightforward fare.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think it's a fantastic start to the game. I really do think that it pushes you off in a grand fashion with the assault on Fort Mercer too.
Yeah.
Getting to get on the fucking machine gun was a lot of fun for sure.
I guess I do think like starting this game again, and like it's my opinion. I think is like solidified on what I'm about to say on this.
Sure.
I think this game, they want John to be a certain way. Like he's written to be a certain way, but like sometimes I'm like doing something, I'm like, John is written wouldn't do this. And like other times I'm like like it's some like I don't know, it's kind of weird, hard to explain. Like I
see
guess,
what- I kinda get what
there's
you
a
mean now.
conflict between like the ability to do what you want in certain situations and like really like how he's like written. Like I'm like it's a total veer off like
What you feel like his character should
He
be doing.
goes along with shit so much in this game, especially
Yeah.
in the Mexico chapter. I'm like, dude, like he is just like, how are you like not like he's annoyed, but then he like won't be all of a sudden. It's like I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
along and get the information, but and
it's
he
the
threatens
one track
them.
mind to like I gotta get back to my family.
Yeah.
I don't
Right,
care.
and then I'm gonna like follow along as like
It's
as
like,
I
I don't
get
give a fuck.
information.
I like, okay, I have to help you, or you're gonna help
But
me
then he
find-
like threatens him, and he's like, "Give me the information." He's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Doesn't. Yeah. Like it just seems like these first chapters is a lot of that. Him like looking.
He's
to,
just trying to figure
to
it
get
out.
to the end game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like unfortunately,
Yeah,
like,
how did you feel about Bill being gone?
I didn't expect. I didn't know he was gonna escape to
Right,
Mexico.
okay,
So
yeah.
I was
You
just
thought
like,
it was
oh.
gonna be like wrapped up.
Yeah, and then
north,
we'll
yeah.
move to
Yeah,
Javier in
yeah.
Mexico. Like it was pretty obvious, but I didn't kind of expect him and Escuela to kind of be compadres.
Escuela.
Yeah.
Did you know Javi was in this before?
Yes.
Yeah,
I like Javi.
my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I didn't know if
they
there
don't
was
tell you
anyone
that
else.
until he flees, right? Bill flees, and then they're like, "Oh, he's supposedly
Javier
holed
Escuela.
up down there with."
Yeah.
You don't
back.
hear about him
I'm
until
with
the
Javier.
end.
Yeah, that is the
Escuela.
first time it's mentioned, which is
Right.
interesting.
So that's,
Javier
how'd you know
Escuela.
that? Just look.
I looked it up before.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, who's in Red Dead 1? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course, while you're playing
I
it for
got- I got curious. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't expect that. And yeah, Mexico is huge, I feel.
Definitely very visually different too, which I like.
Yeah.
My game, I don't know if you guys have the same issue. It's always fucking nighttime. Always.
Really?
Do you save a lot?
No.
Because like it'll just progress time.
Yeah, it's
I
6
know.
hours.
And I have to admit, I feel like I had to crank
Or travel.
the
Fast
contrast
travel.
and brightness and saturation up on my game. I'm like, this game looks like
Dark.
Just
muted.
muted.
Yeah, desaturated. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like,
Interesting.
I usually don't do that with games all that often, where I put the contrast up and put the saturation up, and I'm like, okay,
I just tweak brightness normally.
yeah, the
don't
game
really mess
is,
with
but like
anything
again,
else.
because I was playing at night, I
Yeah.
felt like the game was dark all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
yeah. And I was like, am I just having like really bad luck here? But anyway.
Interesting.
Fast travel will do it too. Sometimes. It'll,
Yeah,
like,
well, that
progress
advances
you.
you. Yeah.
I don't fast travel that much.
I do all the time.
Well, I think for this
All
one,
the time.
especially this being my possibly 10th playthrough, I'm just like bing, 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 bing,
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang. Like I
mark,
had all
mark
the
on the
challenge.
map. Do this. Travel there.
I mean, the Rolodex of Red Dead knowledge up here is unhealthy. I'm going to be honest with you, especially even with the second one. But yeah, I was like, oh, I need to go get whatever. Wild Feverfew. All right, that's down by Armadillo. I know that I'm going to go around here.
Right.
And then
The challenges have been fun.
For sure.
I kind of like it. You know.
No, yeah, I'm glad you brought that
I like
up,
when
yeah.
the game like takes me out of my way to like maybe like go look for something or use a certain gun, shoot the hats off. You know.
how have you been doing with
Yeah.
the treasures? Have you been finding them yourself, or did you use something?
What do you think?
You use something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
God, for
They're like
sure.
a bit. They're difficult. I don't-
It's funny because
like the
I
hanging
think
rock one. I'm like.
that one
I knew
think's
where
easy.
it was,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"Well, where actually is it here?" I couldn't
Yeah.
find
Right.
it.
There's
yeah.
a few that are like very much more stark than others. Like there's one down in Mexico where I'm like, oh yeah, you'd be able to like it's on that rock. In the middle
I've been
of, like,
kind
the
of
opening.
doing the challenges like in order, so like I'm not like I've done all the Mexico ones, and now it's putting me in the West Elizabeth stuff.
Exactly.
do it
So
till,
you
do it till you can't.
Right,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think once you get to like the level 7 area. Or the time that's where you can't really do anything
Right.
until you get to the last chapter.
Are you guys switching outfits a lot?
I use the
this
Deadly
is-
Assassin outfit mostly.
This is my first playthrough that I really fucked with the outfits. I always, except for the poncho, I always use the poncho.
And in Mexico,
But, like,
yeah, you got to.
But
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
didn't. I normally like didn't even care about that stuff.
The outfits are,
And I've been
some are
going
hit,
hard.
some are miss. Yeah, the Deadly Assassin one's cool, but like
I put
They're
them on
much
for what
more
I
of a
need.
gameplay element in this.
I try to be immersive with it. Like when I was gambling, I would wear the gambler one. Yeah, and I'm just trying to be like.
Well,
what
and
makes
then you got to
sense.
gamble a certain amount to get the Savvy Merchant outfit too, which was kind of annoying. You have to win like $1,000 in gambling total. Which, by the way,
you can do that in a mission. I got I was like I'm like lightly following an achievement guide. There's a mission in Mexico. I guess this is getting ahead of it, but yeah,
You did it in Mexico. We'll talk about.
Yeah,
it.
we'll talk about
yeah,
it.
yeah. Fun facts.
Fun facts. Let's move on. Alrighty here. We only got 4 here today, but we'll make them extra fun. I don't know how true this is. I kept seeing it places, but apparently Clint Eastwood, as well as Robert Redford and Bill Paxton, along with Robert Duvall, were asked to voice the role of John Marston. Wheathoff. How would you say that? I don't even. Wheathoff?
Wide off.
Whitehoff? Whitehoff got the role after the others did turn it down. Apparently, he really didn't think he was going to get
What's
it.
his first name?
Rob.
Rob.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean he's a total unknown. Doesn't
Absolutely.
Do
He's
any
like a
other
farmer
roles.
still. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's genuinely, like, it couldn't be more perfect, actually.
Cool, yeah.
I think it's like it seems like some miscasting. Like Clint Eastwood is old. Robert Redford is old.
Well, in 2010, he's
also-
not.
you're
He's,
also going
still,
for-
he's probably still pretty
You're
good.
going for voice too, though. You can get anyone to.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a total match for Duvall
Sure,
and
lucky.
Bill Paxton. Okay,
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying age-wise, but of course Clint Eastwood for a Western. I mean,
yeah,
it just makes...
but like, and this is Rockstar's sort of like bread and butter. Samuel Jackson's in San Andreas, like they have, and Ray Liotta in Vice City.
I know they were pretty averse after Vice City to getting really well-known names because I think they were having issues, not with Ray Liotta, but God, who was it? The guy who plays like the rich, like white club owner in that. He's like, fuck.
Gay Tony.
It's not Gay Tony. No, it's in Vice City.
Oh.
But anyways, I don't know how big they are on about getting like major actors for like main
Roles.
but they do. I mean, I guess they weren't major at the time. Like I've said this before, but if you go back and play GTA 4, like Jason Sudeikis is on the radio in that. David Hayter is on the radio in that.
Danny McBride's in 5.
Danny McBride's on 5.
Kara, what's
like
her
it's
face?
funny. Yeah.
Delevingne.
Delevingne.
She's in 4.
Eyebrows.
Yeah, and she's like maybe it's 5, but she's
That's not Cara Delevingne on the radio.
there. She is in a radio. Maybe it's GTA 5.
She's the radio host.
No, she's one of the channel radio people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
I
could
don't know
literally
what it
like
is,
pull up the thing like after
Because I
we're
know
done.
what you're talking about. It's the pop station where she's
Yeah.
like, Pop will never leave you like your mother did, or something like
that's
that.
Cara Delevingne.
I don't think that is.
It is, dude. I'm telling you.
I'll be happily proven wrong.
I'm telling
I'm gonna
you.
look
You
it
gonna
up
play
right now.
5 next?
What?
You gonna play 5?
It just seems like too
You
much.
should, dude. After this, you should get all the Rockstar juice.
Delevingne.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's just like sometimes
That's
like
something we'd be way more inclined to play
online
achievements with you. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my god, dude! I'll boost you through all that. I didn't do most of them either.
It's really taking that long.
Because I'm trying to find the thing. Oh, I guess it is her. Oh, because she is British. I guess that makes
So
sense.
you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on Nonstop. She voices the DJ on Nonstop Pop. I didn't know that was her.
There you go. Fun
I mean,
fact.
she disappeared completely after Suicide Squad, so. Because she's a bad actor. But it's fine.
She's like I feel like she just went back to modeling.
Right, because she couldn't get acting gigs. Because she was a bad actor.
Well, didn't she do that sci-fi movie with
Yeah,
Green
that everyone
Goblin?
hated her in, and
Yeah.
everyone thought was the most miscast movie ever.
And she was in like a Prime show with Johnny Depp. No, not Johnny Depp. Orlando Bloom. Anyway.
Sounds about right.
The Carnival or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
I never watched it, but
So the oil drilling platform in Plainview was based on, I'm sorry, the game,
Painting.
Jesus Christ. The oil drilling Plainview region in the game is a reference to the character Daniel Day-Lewis plays in There Will Be Blood. In fact, in the area there is a clerk's office with a man sitting outside who looks very much like Day-Lewis's character from the final film.
Nice.
Which I think I know exactly what they're talking about by the train station. I've seen him. He's like sitting out on his chair. This was a
rewatch
fun
that.
fact I found out on my own, actually, as I was playing. So down at Coots Chapel, where you first meet Seth, you can find the grave of all 5 of Bonnie's brothers, and it says how they died.
except the one that
Except
Is
for
in New
the
York or
5 that
whatever.
died. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
she had, or maybe it's only 4. I thought she had
yeah.
6 brothers, and 5 of them died. She
Okay.
says it in the one like cutscene.
Any notable deaths?
No,
Sickness,
just sickness. Someone got in a bar fight. Yeah, another guy like fell. Another one's just like died young. You can see how old they were. Like one was like very, very young and stuff like that. Pretty cool. I thought a nice little touch that absolutely makes sense because where else would they be buried?
It's pretty cool.
This was another one about my favorite guy here, little Marshall Johnson. So Anthony DeLongis is an expert martial artist who is especially proficient, I should say, with a bullwhip, and has for decades been a stunt performer and coordinator. He trains Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman for Batman Returns, as well as Harrison Ford for Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Sadly, Marshall Johnson never even touches a bullwhip in this entire game. So I think that is interesting. I would have never,
especially if he was like a known.
It would have been fun if they had
expert.
one on a nail inside the door.
Right,
and he, went to reach for it and then or reached above it and grabbed like a rifle or something like that.
Or even that would have been fun if you think he's going for the rifle and he gets the whip and he trips the guy. Good stuff. But yeah, that's it. Fun fact wise, I kind of covered a lot of the facts like in the preamble here, like when we were going into the development side.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I do like about the movie reviews.
There's a lot.
There's just so much, especially when you go to like an IMDb page. That's where I got a good amount of these from for this.
I'm trying to think, like the Wolf Among, when the Wolf Among Us was tough. There wasn't a lot. MGS3. I'm trying to remember the fun facts I had for that. I feel like there were some.
It is funny, by the way. I like that we're doing this. We played MGS3 at the beginning of this year, which I never played, and then we had a guest of 3 on. And now we're doing Red Dead, which you never played. And we have another guest, a panel of 3 on.
Yeah. I think you're the first guest to do a Re3 and a Rewind review.
So here's your plaque. You can put that up.
Oh,
please display
Harry
it
Potter
proudly
being
at the
Re1
wedding.
review
Yeah.
and Re3 being playing games.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking it was the same series.
A lot of R's.
Yeah, definitely a lot of R's.
Yeah, okay.
Similar idea.
The first?
I would say.
They're essentially the same thing. It's just
one's
one's
for games,
one's
for
for movies. Yeah.
Was I a first year guest?
You probably were.
I don't know when. I forget what the first one was.
I would
say absolutely. I think for sure.
I would have to look back.
It's been so many times.
I was
at this
actually
point.
categorizing some of the early podcasts. I've been sort of getting our playlist on YouTube like in order. And yeah, some of these podcasts I'm like, we reviewed Rogue One as like one of our episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before we had like the brand, like we
didn't do the
got
hot
it out.
takes yet.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, dude, we've been doing
Podcast
this
has
for-
evolved a
It's been a
lot.
long time.
I mean, dude, you go back and watch the first one. It's wild, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the first Re3 we did had no video. Remember
Yeah.
when we decided like it was going to be audio only, and
Which
like,
I think it
heavily
made
edited?
sense for that one, especially because that's how you wanted to do it. But yeah, that was a learning curve.
Yeah, 37 episodes for the entire Halo series. That took almost an
What,
entire
you're doing by
year.
missions or something?
Like we would bundle like 2 or 3 missions. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we should have done those game
silly.
by game. That's just how we should have done it.
Yeah,
But hey, hindsight's 2020.
yeah.
That's all right.
Anything else,
More
gentlemen,
content.
on New Austin?
Well, that does it for me. I'm gonna go to my favorite watering hole and kick my feet up.
Casey?
Sit a spell. I think we pretty much covered the. It'll all keep coming in the
Absolutely,
next one,
absolutely.
you know. Yeah, but
Fantastic. Well, I guess I will then play us out.
yeah.
Thank you all so much for watching with us. I know you aren't watching with us live for this one, but you can usually watch our podcast live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network as we record them. We would love to have you. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on the favorite platform of choice. We got a Facebook page, Discord channel. We are on all your social medias as well. Everything with an @sign. We are at Delco Nerds. You can even email us your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. We're happy to get back to you. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. For Gooch, for Casey, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time, Cowpoke.